What's good, guys, and welcome back to my F1 2020 My Team Career mode here with Rasu Drago Red Dragon Racing, and we're excited for this one because it's going to be round number 1 at Australia. Now, I did skip over the practice programs and everything because it's the same thing that we've seen before: ERS management, fuel management, track climatization, tyre wear, and all that good stuff. So we're going to get ready to jump on in to round number 1 at Australia. And yeah, also I want to put a massive thank you to everyone who tuned into episode 0 with the team creation and everything. So just want to give a special thank you to everyone who did tune in. And as you can see, we got a few upgrades on the way. Overcast conditions in qualifying, so let's go ahead and let's jump on in to the first qualifying session of the season. So moving into qualifying here, and we are second up on one of our invalidated lap times. So we did invalidate our first flying lap, so we are going to be here on our second one. DRS wide open out the final corner, to the line we will go, and it is going to be a 23 flat, which puts us up into 11th. So I went into the pits, fast forward to the end, and you can see we only dropped 1 place, and that is 7 times ahead of our teammate, and that is a massive gap. And I felt that 95 clearly not competitive enough for me. I need to bump it up, which is exactly what I done. I quit, went to the main menu, and then bumped it up to 100 on the AI difficulty, so that when we come back in to the session, we can hopefully be more competitive with our teammate instead of just absolutely slapping him about. So we're going to start this flying lap. We did invalidate our first flying lap just like in the first qualifying session, but there we go through turns 1 and 2. Getting a bit too much onto the curb, and we're only just up on our invalidated time, but into 3. We're going to take a nice tight line there, hitting the apex through turn 4, and we're going to gain a lot of time on the exit there. And as we go through turn 5, we are a 10th up on our time as we go through turn 6 and 7 here for the fast right-hander of 8, breaking down into turns 9, looking for a good exit there, and we do get the good exit. So as we come to the second sector split, we are up by 3 tenths. As we come to the fast left right, where it's so easy to lose a car on previous games, but the curbs are a lot more forgiving this year, so we are able to keep the car on the track. As we are now coming to the end of the lap, we are up by 3 tenths, 4 tenths now as we come into the penultimate corner, 5 tenths momentarily, and as we come around the final corner, we are up by half a second. To the line we'll go, and it's going to be a 22.7, so it was a 3 tenths improvement from the first qualifying session, but is that going to be enough to get us out of qualifying? Well, we are going to try one more time to set this lap and hopefully get into Q2. As you can see, it is a lot more difficult for me now to get higher up, as we are over half a tenth up, but just missing our braking point into turn 3, and that's going to be something that I'll have to work on, because I wouldn't say I'm comfortable at no line yet, so hence why I had the difficulty at 95. But as you will see now at the end of qualifying, we are going to be knocked out in 17th. We weren't too far off making it through, but our teammate a lot closer to us, and that is what we like. Only a 10th between us, and yeah, that's why it bumped up the difficulty in that, so it's a lot more competitive with me and my teammate. Unfortunately, it means that the mistakes that I'll make learning the tracks and everything is going to be a lot more costly, but it was clear that 95 wasn't the one. I had to bump it up, so I'm glad I did, because it means I'm going to be a lot more competitive as we go into the team acclaim. 2% for me, 10 for Jack Egan, 12% increase, and you gotta love that. And now we're gonna go into the race.
It's finally time once again to begin what promises to be another thrilling season of Formula One action. Pre-season times, subject of so much discussion in recent weeks, mean nothing now, as the cars line up to battle it out for points once again. So let's get this season underway. Welcome to the Australian Grand Prix. The Melbourne circuit is certainly one that needs to be taken seriously. Its combination of slippery surfaces and difficult corners make it a tricky track when it comes to overtakes. Drivers find it hard to pass and will need to take full advantage of those DRS zones if they want to have any hope of breaking through. Can Mercedes start with victory in their bid to win a 7th consecutive Constructors' title? Could Ferrari or Red Bull establish an advantage early on? And with 22 cars on the grid, how quickly can the new team find their footing? Well, it's great to be back, Anthony Davidson. We've got a lot to talk about this year.
That's right, Crofty. It felt like a long winter, but it's good to finally be back. I have to think the usual suspects will battle it out at the front, but there are always going to be some teething problems early on in the season, so whoever can keep on top of their issues will have the advantage today.
As I mentioned earlier, we're up to 11 teams this season, with a new entry run by, well, of all things, an owner-driver. That's something we haven't seen in this sport since Hector Raback over 4 decades ago. So how are they looking so far?
Ever since their participation was announced, there were questions being asked about whether an outfit like this could survive, and certainly it's proving to be a trial by fire so far. Let's hope they can continue to draw in investment and find a little more pace as well.
Before we begin, let's take a quick look at the grid lineup for today's race. Lewis Hamilton lines up on pole position, and it's Valtteri Bottas that completes the front row. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Leclerc, Verstappen, Sebastian Vettel and Albon, Ricciardo, Norris, Sainz and Esteban Ocon, Perez, Stroll, Daniel Kvyat and Gasly, Giovinazzi, Raikkonen, Edwards and Kevin Magnussen, Aitken, Grosjean, Russell and Nicholas Latifi. Which of these talented drivers will come out on top today?
Okay, here we go. I know what you can do. Don't let me down.
So, no grid penalties that move us up the order, so P17 is where we're going to be starting. As we look at the tyre strategy, it's going to be a one-stop, soft to mediums was what I was looking for, but I'm not sure on tyre wear on this game yet. So I ended up opting to go on the mediums first of all, and maybe see, because I got that flexibility then of going on to the set of hards or the soft. So the soft to medium to soft strategy is what I'm aiming for, but I have the option there to change it if necessary as we form up on the grid to get ready to go racing here at Melbourne, here for the Australian Grand Prix round number 1 to 5. Red lights. Lights are out and we are underway, and initially it's a pretty good start for me as we get a little bit of wheel spin there in the lower gears, and we are going to be 3 wide as it is 3 wide up ahead. Magnussen there as he just nips my front right tyre as he goes past, so we don't lose a position, but as we got Kimi Räikkönen down our inside and we outbrake ourselves and just managed to avoid the back of Kevin Magnussen there. But we have lost a spot now to Räikkönen and K-Mag, and we were just able to squeeze out Romain Grosjean there to keep a hold of P18 for the time being. So now it's all about settling into this race, getting into a rhythm, and that is exactly what I'm setting out to do, trying to defend from Romain Grosjean and now Russell, who is now behind him. But as we move on to lap 7, nothing happened at all, but we were beginning to close in on K-Mag, just showing that the Haas isn't doing too well at the moment. As we go through turns 2, we pick up a warning for exceeding track limit, so the strict corner cutting now coming into play, as we have to be careful of absolutely everything, as we are trying to follow Kevin Magnussen as closely as possible, as we make up a lot of time there in turn 5. As we approach the back of K-Mag, are we going to be able to make a move here into turn 9? We had a little think, but thought better of it, staying behind the Haas for the time being, looking to get a good exit out of 10, which we don't really get that great of an exit, so we're unable to put him under pressure as it is, and into the fast left right, taking it a bit too cautious, but turning just a bit too early, and that's a 3-second time penalty, and that is going to be costly, because I have a feeling that we're going to be battling with these guys for the entire race. So a 3-second time penalty this early on is not what we need. And also we do have Raikkonen up ahead as well, who also started on the medium compound tyre, so we need to stay close to the Alfa Romeo as possible, as we got the first load of pit stops there in the pits. As you see Verstappen going down the order, as he has just made his first pit stop, coming out on a set of soft tyres here, as we go down the inside there of K-Mag, lock up, and we just absolutely sent that, and fortunately was able to get through without causing any damage at the K-Mag, so pretty decent for us to make that move. So now we are ahead of the Haas. Now it's time to put the foot down and try and pull away, which is what we are doing as we try to close up to the Alfa Romeo of Kimi Raikkonen, and that is going to be a task. As you can see, he's 1.9 ahead as Verstappen is out of the race. He's just come out of the pit stop. We've got to see what's going on here. Max Verstappen out of the race, lap 9. So here we go. We're going to have a look at what happened as he comes out of the pits. He is going to come out just ahead of, I believe that is Romain Grosjean, just ahead of my teammate Jack Aiken. Down there, a few places behind. So Verstappen, he appears to be on the soft tyres. Yes, he is on the softs, and he looks pretty fine at the moment, but oh, an engine failure, smoke coming out of the back of the Red Bull, as he has completely slowed up Grosjean and my teammate, and oh my god, the Renault, I believe that's Daniel Ricciardo, into the back of Verstappen. The former teammates colliding here at Melbourne, the hometown hero, with heavy wing damage from the looks of it. As we are going to have a look now with the onboard of Daniel Ricciardo and see what happens, as oh, it's just, that's a rookie mistake, and as he picks up more wing damage trying to get past Max Verstappen there, and that is unfortunate there for the Renault driver, the hometown boy. But moving back to our POV, we were doing decent trying to close in on Raikkonen, but now we have Sebastian Vettel all over our back end, and there's no point in fighting with the Ferrari. We're just gonna let him go up ahead. We're not in the same battle. We don't want no problems here, Seb. Go on about your business. And we do now have Alex Albon and Charles Leclerc not too far behind us, as well, as we come now later on into that lap, and we're just looking at the tyre where we didn't pay attention, and that's a second 3-second time penalty, so that's 6 seconds now, and Albon is going to go down our inside, and on the straight we will drop the spot to Charles Leclerc. And now moving on to lap 14, Kimi pitted the lap before, so I wanted to mirror him, as it didn't look like the tyre wear was too great on this game. So into the pits we'll go, to put on a set of hard compound tyres to go to the end and hopefully close back up to Kimi, and hopefully not lose any places due to the 6 seconds of time penalties that we have. So as we rejoin on the track, we will come out behind Kimi Räikkönen, but we will come out ahead of Kevin Magnussen, as we just have information there. Stroll going slowly, but we'll push on. Hopefully we can get the place on Stroll, but he is some way up the road, so I'm not sure how long he's going to be suffering these issues for. As we move on to lap 17, we are catching Kimi and pulling away from Kevin Magnussen, so we can see that Sergio Perez is out of the race. So Sergio Perez out of the race, second fatality here at Melbourne, and there he is, he's up on the right, and that promotes us up into 14th place. I was going to say we had the gap to George Russell, but we're going to have a look now on board to see what happens with Sergio Perez and why he ended up DNFing. There's no smoke coming from his car. Is that just a mechanical failure? It is. It's just a straight up mechanical failure for Sergio Perez, and Perez now out of this race. So now we are down to 20 cars left at Melbourne, as we are all over the back of Kimi Räikkönen here on lap 18 of 29 here at the Australian Grand Prix, as we get pretty close, but we go too deep there into turn 11, and that compromises us through 12, and we are unable to get close enough to the Alfa Romeo to make a move. And unfortunately that was just how it went. Every single time I got close, I made a simple mistake that just kept pulling me back, and you can see the gap now between me and Russell. I am comfortably safe from getting jumped by Russell, but Kevin Magnussen there 3.7 seconds behind. As you can see, Kimi Räikkönen now starting to get away, as we are now trying to gap K-Mag by 6 seconds, and we've only got 3 more laps to do it, and I'm not sure if we're going to be able to do it, as it looks like Räikkönen now all of a sudden has found a bit of pace, because he is now cruising away from me as we come towards the end of the race, and gonna cross the line, picking up the first victory here is gonna be Lewis Hamilton for the Mercedes. So it's gonna be a Mercedes 1-2. Valtteri Bottas picks up the fastest lap, as well as we have Sebastian Vettel taking that final step on the podium. So Seb getting his campaign off in the right way, as we are now coming up to the end of the race. Through the final corner, we were unable to keep with Räikkönen. He had such great pace at the end there, as did Kevin Magnussen. So we are going to get jumped by K-Mag, and we are going to finish down in 15th place. However, I would say that is a pretty decent performance. We were able there to keep up with the likes of Kimi Räikkönen, so a good result for us here.
So another fantastic victory for the Silver Arrows. Tell me, Ant, how do you think they were able to deliver such an incredible result today?
I think a large part of the result comes down to temperament. They were able to keep their heads when everyone around them was losing theirs, and that's allowed them to get the best out of the car, to maximise the strategy, and to stay out of trouble.
Mercedes are on top form once again after an excellent race weekend. It's great to see them up on that podium once again.
So there we go, Lewis Hamilton picking up the first win of the season. Mercedes with a 1-2. Sebastian Vettel joining them on the podium maximum points for Mercedes in this first race, and it is going to be a very tasty season from the looks of it. But this is how the race results ended up. As you can see, we were down in 15th because of that 6-second time penalty, and unfortunately our teammate Jack Aiken did end up getting lapped in that race, and we unfortunately are going to be behind Haas in the constructors now because of that penalty. But hopefully we are going to be able to come back at them and push ahead of them in future races with those upgrades coming soon, and me going to be getting more comfortable with no line. It's going to be interesting to see what happens as we proceed through this career mode. But right now my own mistakes cost me a position here today, but it could be worse. I mean, we didn't finish last place, so we gotta take that as we get our new team acclaim as we go up now to level 2 there. So that is a good job from both myself and Jack to get to level 2, as we got a bit of cash coming in now, as we have just gone over the 2 million point. And as you can see, next up we have Bahrain. But before we get into Bahrain, I was thinking what to do. Obviously we got 2 days to do some form of activity here, and noticing at the beginning of the race how low our morale was in the powertrain department, I did try to go with the power team building activity to boost the morale of the engine department. So gonna boost their morale up a bit. Hopefully it means that they'll be feeling a lot better, no longer poor on morale. And because we have 2 million, I am gonna look to upgrade a part of the facility, and I was a little bit torn between what to upgrade in terms of, you know, what would be good in the future. So obviously build time could be very important to us, but fabrication would probably be a bit better, get our simultaneous building underway. But as you are gonna see, we are also looking at improving our teammate to make him a lot better. So we were looking at what we could do with personnel there, and we do end up going with an upgrade, and I'm going to be investing in the future, hoping that 2 good drivers are going to be able to make things happen, with the potential that we do have there with Jack Aiken. We are going to end up upgrading the fitness center, which is 1.5 million. So we are going to upgrade that, and yeah, I mean, we're going to upgrade it. That will improve Jack's, believe that's going to improve his, as you can see now, we're just looking at the stats, and it improves his racecraft and awareness. So that is what is going to be improved. As I'm just going through, and I've made up my mind to upgrading the fitness center. I was just looking at the stats and everything just to see what was going to go on, and here we go. We are going to purchase this upgrade now, and whenever I decide to do it, as we are gonna purchase the fitness center. It'll upgrade the racecraft and awareness of Jack Egan, and I think that is going to be beneficial for us moving forward. And that is where we are going to end off this episode. So thank you guys for checking out this episode. Make sure you leave some comments, subscribe, all that good stuff. Until the next episode, I've been IvorBrynMike, and we'll catch you in the next one. Peace.